They say no one remembers a stray dog, no name, no home, no purpose. But one stormy night, in the quiet town of Willow Creek, a forgotten German shepherd stepped into the darkness carrying something no one expected and changed 3 lives forever. What he found, what he did, and who he became will stay with you long after the rain stops. If you're ready for a story that might just find you when you least expect it, make sure to subscribe and let us know where you're listening from, because some stories are meant to be shared. Scout lay quietly in the shadows of the old railroad bridge, his large, gentle eyes scanning the empty street for movement. His fur, once thick and lustrous with shades of black and tan, was now matted and streaked with mud, a reflection of a life that had lost all warmth and comfort. Scout remembered when things were different, when a soft voice would call him by name, and a loving hand gently scratched behind his ears. But now, there was only silence, broken occasionally by the rumble of distant traffic or the whispering wind passing through the trees. The memories of his former owner, John Mason, lingered with Scout like a persistent dream. John had been a decorated veteran, a kind-hearted man with a warm smile and a strong yet gentle presence. Scout had been his companion through the darkest days, sitting loyally by John's side when nightmares of war haunted him, his head resting patiently in John's lap. But when John passed away, Scout's entire world crumbled, leaving him abandoned and confused, with no home and no one left to care. Scout had learned to survive on the outskirts of Willow Creek, scavenging through garbage cans behind restaurants and carefully avoiding humans who often chased him away with harsh words or thrown rocks. His once trusting heart had become cautious, scarred by the repeated cruelty he encountered. Yet beneath his worn appearance, Scout's spirit remained compassionate and gentle, longing silently for someone to trust again. As twilight descended over the town, Scout rose from his hiding place, hunger gnawing insistently at his empty belly. He moved quietly through the back alleys, his sensitive nose guiding him toward the scent of discarded food near the local diner. Tonight, he found a small piece of stale bread, half buried beneath an overturned trash bin. Scout gratefully devoured it, savoring every crumb, knowing he might not find anything else for a long time. Nearby, the diner's kitchen door opened suddenly, sending Scout scurrying into the shadows. A tall, heavy-set man wearing a white apron stepped outside, cigarette smoke drifting lazily from his fingers. His face was worn, lined deeply by fatigue and years of work. Scout crouched lower, his muscles tense with the memory of past encounters, ready to flee at the slightest provocation. But the man did not notice Scout, merely flicking ash onto the pavement before returning inside, leaving Scout alone once again. Scout continued on through the darkness, eventually reaching a quiet park at the edge of town. Here, beneath the soft glow of the streetlights, the benches sat empty, and the playground swings swayed gently in the cool night breeze. Scout paused, sniffing cautiously at the damp grass, his ears perked at the slightest rustle. His heart ached, remembering when John would bring him to parks like these, tossing a worn tennis ball across the field, their laughter mingling with joyous barks echoing through happier days. Scout curled up beneath an old oak tree, the rough bark familiar against his side, offering a tiny sense of comfort. Yet sleep would not come easily tonight, for loneliness had settled deeply within him, pressing heavily upon his weary soul. He longed desperately for the warmth of human touch, for a gentle voice to reassure him that he was safe, wanted, loved. But as the moon rose higher, casting silver rays across the empty park, Scout resigned himself again to solitude. He rested his head upon his paws, eyes heavy with exhaustion and sorrow, wondering if his heart would ever find peace, or if loneliness was simply his fate, destined to follow him forever. The skies opened up as rain began to pour heavily over Willow Creek, drenching everything in sight. Scout shivered beneath the old oak tree, droplets soaking through his matted coat, chilling him to the bone. His eyes, once bright with joy, were dulled with sadness and fatigue. He stood up, deciding to find shelter elsewhere, his paws splashing softly through growing puddles on the pavement. As Scout moved quietly through the dark, rain-slicked streets, the scent of damp earth mingled with something unfamiliar yet deeply troubling. His sensitive ears twitched, catching the faintest of sounds, a tiny, fragile cry, drifting weakly through the downpour. Curious and cautious, Scout paused, his head tilted to listen intently. The heartbreaking cry pulled at something deep within him, an instinctive urge he couldn't ignore. Following the delicate sound, Scout soon reached an alleyway illuminated only by a flickering street lamp, its pale glow casting eerie shadows across discarded boxes and debris. There, partially hidden beneath a soaked cardboard box, lay a small bundle wrapped loosely in a thin, faded blanket. Scout approached carefully, his powerful body tense but gentle. The crying softened to faint whimpers as Scout's large, warm nose nudged the blanket aside, revealing a tiny infant girl, her skin pale and trembling from the cold. The baby's eyes were tightly closed, her tiny fists clenched weakly, searching desperately for warmth that was nowhere to be found. Scout's heart surged with a profound tenderness. It was the same feeling he remembered experiencing with his late owner, John, a desire to protect and comfort. Without hesitation, Scout gently curled his large body around the tiny child, using his own warmth to shield her from the relentless chill. The infant's breathing steadied slightly, her tiny body instinctively pressing closer to Scout's warmth, seeking safety in the comforting presence of this newfound guardian. The rain intensified, the wind carrying an icy sting through the alleyway, reminding Scout that this fragile life depended entirely on him now. His instincts told him staying here was dangerous. He had to find help, had to find humans who would care, who would save this helpless child. Carefully, Scout stood and used his gentle mouth to grasp the edge of the blanket, lifting the child softly. She weighed almost nothing, yet the weight of responsibility pressed heavily upon Scout's weary shoulders. Moving cautiously through the stormy streets, Scout's every step was deliberate, mindful of his precious burden. He remembered vaguely a place John once visited frequently, a place filled with people who healed and cared, the local clinic on River Street. Though he feared humans deeply, Scout knew this was no time to hesitate. This baby needed help immediately, and Scout's sense of duty overcame his lingering mistrust. Lightning illuminated the sky, momentarily bathing the quiet town in a stark, white glow. Scout moved quicker, his muscles aching, yet his determination unwavering. Soon, he reached the brightly lit clinic, its lights a beacon of hope amidst the darkness. Scout approached the front doors, setting the bundle gently down and beginning to bark loudly, urgently, a desperate plea for someone to notice. Inside the clinic, Nurse Emma Foster, a slender, kind-hearted woman with long auburn hair pulled neatly into a ponytail, heard the unusual barking. Emma had always carried a quiet strength beneath her gentle exterior, a woman who deeply cared for every patient she encountered. Her soft brown eyes narrowed in concern as she stepped outside cautiously, spotting Scout standing protectively over the bundle at his feet. She froze for a moment, uncertain, but quickly understood something was very wrong. Emma stepped closer, her voice soothing yet firm. "It's all right, boy. Let me see what you've got there." Scout sensed kindness in Emma's voice, allowing her to approach and carefully lift the infant girl into her arms. Emma's eyes widened with shock and compassion as she felt the infant's icy skin and frail body, realizing the severity of the situation instantly. Without hesitation, Emma rushed back inside, Scout following closely behind, unwilling to leave the child he had risked everything to protect. As Emma called urgently for assistance, Scout lay quietly nearby, his eyes never leaving the baby, filled with a mix of hope and worry, silently praying his actions had come in time. Inside the warmth of Willow Creek Clinic, Nurse Emma Foster moved swiftly and deliberately, her gentle voice urgently instructing the medical team around her. With tender care, she placed the infant onto the examination table, her fingers quickly but carefully assessing the tiny body for vital signs. Scout sat silently nearby, his ears alert and eyes filled with anxious anticipation, never wavering from the fragile child whose life had become intertwined with his own. Emma glanced toward Scout, her heart filled with admiration and curiosity toward this mysterious dog, whose compassion had led him to brave danger for the sake of a helpless stranger. The German shepherd's large frame and rugged appearance belied the gentle soul hidden beneath, a testament to his enduring spirit despite the harsh life he'd clearly led. Emma softly reassured him, "You did well, boy," her voice soothing yet tinged with sadness at the thought of what he must have endured before arriving here. Meanwhile, Dr. James Harper, a tall, serious-faced physician with graying temples and kind blue eyes, carefully examined the infant. His experienced hands gently administered warmth and oxygen, his voice steady yet comforting as he gave instructions to his team. "She's stable now, but another hour outside would have been too late," he quietly remarked to Emma, gratitude evident in his eyes as he looked briefly toward Scout. As the clinic buzzed with activity, Scout found himself cautiously stepping closer to Emma. Her compassionate eyes and soft voice reminded him of the warmth he had once known, reviving a fragile sense of trust within his wounded heart. But memories of rejection lingered, causing Scout to pause warily, uncertain if this brief moment of kindness would last, or if it was merely a fleeting illusion in his painful life. Emma sensed Scout's hesitation and knelt slowly beside him, extending her hand gently. "It's okay," she whispered softly, her tone calm and reassuring. "I won't hurt you." Scout carefully sniffed her hand, sensing only kindness and sincerity, and with a deep sigh of relief, he allowed Emma to stroke his matted fur gently. For a moment, the barriers Scout had built around his heart melted away, replaced by the comforting touch of someone who genuinely cared. Just then, the clinic's receptionist, Karen Mitchell, a middle-aged woman with short blonde hair and glasses perched on her nose, approached Emma. Her voice was hushed yet urgent, informing Emma that local authorities had arrived to investigate the abandoned child's case. Sheriff Tom Reynolds, a broad-shouldered man in his early 50s with a deep voice and steady demeanor, entered the clinic quietly, nodding respectfully to Dr. Harper before addressing Emma with a compassionate yet authoritative tone. "We'll do everything we can to find out who left her," Sheriff Reynolds assured, his eyes softening slightly as he noticed Scout. "And it looks like this fellow here deserves some credit." He reached out his hand cautiously, allowing Scout to sniff him briefly before gently patting the dog's strong shoulders. Scout's ears perked slightly at the sheriff's touch, a cautious yet hopeful acknowledgement of the growing trust forming between him and the humans surrounding him. Emma's heart swelled at the sight of Scout gradually opening himself to the warmth of human interaction. Her decision was immediate and firm. Scout needed care, shelter, and most importantly, love. "I'd like to take care of him," she told the sheriff softly but firmly, her eyes shining with determination and compassion. "He saved that little girl's life, and he deserves someone to look after him too." Sheriff Reynolds nodded approvingly, recognizing the genuine connection forming between Emma and Scout. "I think that's a wonderful idea, Emma," he replied gently. "He certainly deserves a chance after all he's been through." Emma smiled warmly, placing a comforting hand on Scout's head once more, silently promising him that the days of loneliness and rejection were finally coming to an end. As the rain outside slowly eased, Scout rested quietly at Emma's side, his weary body finally allowing itself a brief moment of peace. For the first time, in what felt like forever, hope stirred gently within Scout's heart, nurtured by the warmth of Emma's kindness and the quiet assurance that perhaps, after so much pain, he could finally find a place where he truly belonged. In the soft glow of dawn, Willow Creek Clinic slowly quieted, the emergency finally behind them. Emma Foster gently rocked the sleeping infant girl, now wrapped warmly in a soft pink blanket, safe from the earlier chaos. Scout, lying quietly beside Emma's feet, occasionally lifted his head to ensure the tiny child remained protected. Emma's heart swelled each time she looked at Scout, seeing beyond his tired eyes and weathered fur, recognizing a spirit defined by loyalty and courage. Emma knew instinctively that beneath his tough exterior was a wounded soul craving nothing but kindness. As the morning sun bathed the clinic in golden hues, Sheriff Reynolds returned briefly, smiling gently at the peaceful scene before him. With reassuring words, he informed Emma that the abandoned baby would soon be safely transferred to the county hospital, where she would receive continued care until a loving home could be found. Emma nodded gratefully, her focus shifting to Scout, whose cautious gaze followed every movement in the room, still hesitant but slowly trusting the kindness shown to him. Emma knelt beside Scout, softly stroking the dog's head. "You've been through so much," she whispered, feeling Scout's tense muscles gradually relax under her touch. Emma felt a powerful connection forming, a bond built from shared compassion and respect. "How about you come home with me?" she said gently, smiling as Scout's ears perked up slightly at her voice, as though understanding every word. Later that afternoon, after settling the infant girl safely into the care of county social workers, Emma led Scout toward her car. The large German shepherd hesitated briefly, memories of pain and rejection causing him to pause. Emma knelt again, patiently waiting, softly coaxing him forward. Her gentle persistence slowly overcame Scout's fears, his cautious steps, eventually carrying him into the vehicle. Emma's smile widened, warmth filling her heart as she drove Scout home, determined to offer him the life he deserved. Emma's modest house was cozy and inviting, nestled among tall maple trees on the quiet edge of town. Scout tentatively entered, eyes wide with uncertainty, cautiously exploring his new surroundings. Emma allowed him space, carefully observing from a distance, as Scout gradually relaxed, drawn by comforting scents and the inviting warmth of the home. With quiet relief, Scout settled beside the stone fireplace, its gentle crackling providing the soothing background noise that slowly lulled him into a peaceful rest. Over the following days, Scout and Emma developed a rhythm built upon mutual trust and patience. Emma patiently tended to Scout's neglected coat, washing away the remnants of his past life, revealing again the handsome German shepherd beneath. Scout gradually rediscovered simple joys, soft blankets, nourishing meals, and Emma's gentle hands lovingly stroking his fur. Each new act of kindness slowly healed the wounds Scout carried within, his guarded heart steadily opening to the possibility of unconditional love once more. One quiet evening, as Emma prepared dinner, Scout lay watching her closely, his eyes filled with warmth and curiosity. Emma's soft laughter filled the air, her auburn hair loose around her shoulders, her movements graceful yet comforting. She noticed Scout's attentive gaze and smiled affectionately, her voice filled with quiet gratitude. "I never imagined someone like you would come into my life, Scout. But I'm so thankful you did." Scout lifted his head slightly, ears tilted forward, comforted by the gentle sincerity in her voice. As days turned into weeks, Emma and Scout's bond grew unbreakable. The community of Willow Creek warmly welcomed Scout, admiring his courage and strength, inspired by the gentle soul hidden beneath his tough exterior. Emma often brought Scout to visit the clinic, where he quickly became a calming presence, comforting anxious patients and gently interacting with the staff, his innate kindness apparent to all who met him. Each evening, Emma and Scout returned home together, the small house echoing with warmth and quiet companionship. They found peace in each other's presence, their hearts finally healing from past hurts. Together, they created a sanctuary filled with acceptance and compassion, transforming loneliness into companionship, sadness into quiet joy. Scout's journey, marked by struggle and pain, had finally led him home, his heart fully opened by Emma's unwavering love. As winter gently gave way to spring, warm sunlight filled the cozy rooms of Emma's home, carrying with it a sense of renewal and promise. Scout basked contentedly near the kitchen window, his now glossy coat glistening softly in the sunlight. Emma glanced over affectionately, her heart swelling with pride at the transformation she saw in Scout. Once cautious and withdrawn, he now radiated trust and joy, a profound reminder of resilience and the power of kindness. Today was special, a day Emma had awaited with both excitement and anticipation. After months of foster care and thorough preparation, the little girl Scout had rescued was finally coming home permanently. Emma had named her Hope, a testament to the miracle she represented, and the profound impact her presence had on their lives. The house was meticulously prepared, filled with gentle touches, a crib decorated with soft pastel blankets, stuffed animals carefully arranged, each chosen with love. Emma carefully adjusted a framed photograph placed prominently above the mantel, capturing the moment Scout had gently guarded the tiny infant, forever immortalizing the courage and compassion that changed all of their lives. Scout sensed Emma's quiet excitement, watching her closely, ears perked, his amber eyes filled with gentle curiosity. "Today's the day, Scout," Emma whispered softly, stroking his head reassuringly. "Hope's coming home." As the clock struck noon, the front door opened to reveal Karen Mitchell from the clinic, holding little Hope securely in her arms. Karen smiled warmly, her familiar face lighting up as she handed the now healthy and lively baby girl gently to Emma. "Here she is," Karen said softly, emotion filling her voice. Emma cradled Hope tenderly, the child's soft, rosy cheeks warm against her skin, her heart filled with overwhelming gratitude. Scout approached cautiously, his gaze intent yet gentle, carefully sniffing at the tiny girl. Recognition immediately sparked in his eyes, the scent of the child awakening memories of that fateful night when he had first found her. His tail wagged gently, a quiet acknowledgement that this child had indeed become part of his own story, as well as Emma's. Days and weeks soon fell into a comforting routine, each filled with moments of warmth and quiet joy. Scout quickly became Hope's vigilant guardian, never straying far from her side, his protective instincts always alert. Each night, Emma softly hummed lullabies, Scout resting contentedly beside Hope's crib, their bond strengthening with each passing day. Emma watched this quiet devotion unfold, profoundly moved by Scout's unwavering loyalty and gentle heart. One calm afternoon, Emma sat on the front porch, Hope nestled warmly in her arms, Scout comfortably sprawled at her feet. She watched neighbors pass by, greeting them warmly, everyone familiar with the incredible story of how Scout had brought them all together. Among them, elderly Mrs. Eleanor Dawson, a longtime resident known for her gentle smile and twinkling blue eyes, paused briefly, praising Scout warmly for his bravery and remarking how beautifully life had rewarded his courage. Emma smiled in agreement, softly stroking Scout's fur, reflecting quietly on the path that brought them here. Though she had rescued Scout from a harsh existence, Emma realized with clarity that Scout had saved her, too. Before him, her life had felt quietly empty, driven by routine yet missing something intangible, profound. Through Scout's gentle presence, she had found purpose, fulfillment, and a family she never imagined possible. As twilight painted the sky in gentle shades of lavender and gold, Emma rose slowly, carrying Hope gently inside, Scout close at her heels. She placed Hope carefully in her crib, watching affectionately as Scout settled down protectively nearby, his eyes heavy with peaceful contentment. Emma leaned down, gently whispering her gratitude, knowing he understood more than words could ever convey. Quietly closing the nursery door, Emma sighed happily, reflecting deeply upon the journey that had brought them together. Through kindness and courage, loneliness had given way to family, sorrow had transformed into joy, and despair had blossomed into hope. Scout, once abandoned and alone, had found his place at last, woven seamlessly into the tapestry of their lives, forever a symbol of the extraordinary bond forged from an act of compassion and love. In the quiet moments of life, we often find that true heroes do not need grand gestures or praise. Their courage lies simply in their compassion, loyalty, and the gentle sacrifices they make each day. Scout taught us that love can heal even the deepest wounds, and family can be found in the most unexpected places. If this story touched your heart, please consider joining us by subscribing, and together, let's continue celebrating stories of hope, kindness, and the extraordinary bond we share with animals.